By now, it is clear that the way social interactions are structured depends on the rules of the game. The rules of the game determine not only how the game is played, but also the gains from those interactions. Importantly, the rules of the game also determine the outcomes of economic interactions. So if you wish, you can also you call those outcomes from social interactions equilibrium outcomes. But so far, we have not talked about what those rules are, how they come to existence, and how they change. This is the purpose of this week, answering these questions. In addition, we'll see how the change in those rules has the potential to dramatically change the welfare of the economic agents involved. So to be able to see those relationships unfold, we will use a simple individual optimization model. Then we'll involve other agents in the model, and we'll make those agents interact under certain rules. And finally, during the live lecture, we'll see how the change in those rules will be able to deliver a massive change in how the welfare of those involved is distributed. When we finish this week, you will be able to look back at our society's history from an institutional perspective, from the perspective of a person who knows how the rules of the game shape economic actions and their outcomes. Looking back at our history means recognizing that it's a sequence of events. Yes, but also importantly, it's a story about how our institutions change in favor or against certain groups of individuals. This is what this week is going to be about. And specifically, we'll talk about how the rules of the game or economic institutions affect the balance of power between economic agents. The balance of power is important because power gives you an ability to force other people to do something they don't want to do. And therefore, if you have this power vested in you by the rules of the game, you can exploit it in your best interest and against the interests of others. By doing this analysis, we'll also be able to explain, for example, how the institutions of slavery made some people and firms extremely rich and others extremely poor. In other words, we'll be able to explain the differences in the gains from economic interactions between economic agents. And finally, by the end of this week, we'll be able to evaluate if a certain economic outcome is efficient or also fair. We'll use certain criteria to be able to address those issues. So keep watching to learn more about the exciting topic of property and power in economic institutions. Thanks.